Hey everybody, I'm Matt Mackey. Today's drinking word is again. Today's lose your drink word is pontificate. That was one extra time that I thought that noise was going to happen. We always like to go and get the business out of the way up front so we can party in the back. So, most importantly for us is that we get enough money to keep this show going so we can keep making a show for you guys. So we run on entirely on your generous donations. We'd love to have some. I'll pause for a moment so you can make one. Okay, we appreciate that. Another great organization that also runs on your donations is the Music Health Alliance. We already give some of the money you guys give to us to them, but if you want to donate to them directly, we always encourage that. We always put info up at the end of the show for you to do everything you want to do with them. We would love it if you would. And don't forget, audience topics are going to be coming up pretty soon, so go ahead and start commenting if you want anything you want to hear us talk about. We would love to talk about what you want us to talk about, at least for a little while. And now, here's the show. If you're sitting by yourself or you're not by yourself and you're looking down at your watch, 'cause you've seen this show and you've seen that show and you're wondering what to watch. Well, here's the show.
Where's the show?
There's the show.
You're a show.
Here's the show with Matt Mackey.
Who's that?
Okay. So it turns out being locked down at home for months on end while simultaneously parenting a tiny little human who is also locked down at home for months on end, it's a lot like cleaning up the elephant pen at the zoo. It's terrible. And now, the news.
It's time for the news.
Personal news. Okay, so, as you know, when we say the news on this show, what we really mean is the personal news, as in what's been going on in our lives. We think it's important for you to get to know us a little bit and how our lives go day to day, and maybe a couple tidbits that you'll find of interest. Joining me, as always, Mr. Mark Cardwell. Hey, Mark Cardwell.
How you doing, bud?
I'll applaud for you since our studio audience isn't here tonight, most of them. It doesn't look like.
Yeah, I guess not. I guess they're social distancing.
Well, you know, as you and I are practicing so efficiently right now.
That's right.
Cheers.
I like that joke.
I thought it was a pretty good joke. You know, not all the jokes land, I'll be the first to admit. But that one was a good
It
one.
was good.
So what's going on? I mean, I got my personal news as always. What do you got for some personal news? What's going on personally, Mark Cardwell?
I hate bananas.
You hate bananas.
Man, I've tried.
That's your strong lead. Right out of the
Man,
gate,
I've
you're just going right
tried.
into, I hate bananas.
I ruined a breakfast the other day because I was like, I'm going to put bananas in my cereal because I don't like the texture of bananas anyway. And I put them in the cereal, ruined the cereal.
I do not recall the last time I heard a person use the sentence, I ruined a breakfast the other day.
Oh, man, it was the worst.
Because that's a whole breakfast gone. And you're not going to make a second breakfast unless
Nope.
you're a hobbit, I guess.
No, that's right.
Wasn't that a thing, right? Second breakfast on the hobbits?
Absolutely.
Yeah, there we go.
There
Good.
we go. Hey.
I knew I wasn't crazy. I know my Tolkien-ish.
Tolkien.
Tolkien. Sorry.
It's like the Impa thing from last Impanema, Tolkien.
No, I don't think it's the same thing at all.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a good one of mine. So this is actually, so you can tell when I wrote these scripts versus when we're actually talking about a lot of this. When the big storms came through Nashville, I guess it's been over a month ago now, a month or two. We lost electricity, like most of Nashville did. We lost power, but then, you know, it's day one without power, and you don't ever think, like when your electricity goes out, you never think, oh, that's going to go on for days at a time. So we were like, okay, don't open the fridge, don't open the freezer, the power will be back on, you know, tonight. We got home at like 6, 7 o'clock that night, the power was out. We're like, all right, don't open anything. Next day, we wake up, still no power. Like, oh, that's crazy, but okay. 2 more days. We went 3 days without electricity. We're just walking around with candles. 3 days. Everything in the fridge and the freezer went bad because if we had known on day 1 it was going to be 3 days, we would have moved it to somebody who had power.
Man,
It was
I bet
wildly
that had to be rough.
unfortunate.
How'd y'all do with the dang, like, wrapping up with the electronics and stuff?
We basically just charged everything that we owned in other places and then worked our way around it, was the biggest thing we had to do.
Dude, I don't know what I would do if I couldn't charge my phone.
Well,
really
I mean,
don't.
we worked it out. That seems like a tremendous first world problem. I'm just going to be the first to say it. Do we have any other personal news that we want to cover, or should we just jump right into audience topics?
I think we should.
All right, I'm down to get into audience topics.
Audience topics.
What y'all want to talk about?
Let's go over here to our producer extraordinaire, Jonathan Stevens. What do we have so far for audience topics, sir?
Let's see.
Oh, you know what? I actually got, before we even get into those, I got a personal message earlier today. A person pre-requested their audience topic.
That's right. That's what I was looking for.
And I was wildly impressed. I won't say who pre-requested their audience topics. This person asked to
Pre-requested.
Yeah, like today I got a text message and it said, hey, here's my audience topic for tonight. And so, this is for you, and you know who you are. This person wanted to hear about the old, remember the Blue Bar?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the Blue Bar.
I just saw Chuck and Candy the other day. We went right when they lifted all the social restrictions.
So Blue Bar is a bar that used to be in Midtown Nashville that we've played a lot of gigs at, hung out with a lot, and Chuck and Candy that owned Blue Bar. That's who he's talking about.
I just saw them the other day. We went out there when they first opened up their restaurant after the shutdown.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about how many shows have we played there? I mean,
The amount of nights that and what was great, we was Monday nights all the time. We would do every Monday night at the Blue Bar. And I mean, it would be packed, you know what I mean? People just to the gills, every which way you looked. That was a Midtown gym, if ever I've seen one, the old Blue Bar.
the Blue Shot.
Oh,
The Blue Shot.
I was not as into the Blue Shot as some.
So, audience topic.
What else you got?
John Keithley says, Mackey, I want to be a guest next week.
John Keithley, if you want to be a guest on this show, I have a list of 4.5 things that I'm going to need you to do. And we can only talk about 3.5 of them on the air. But we're not going to do it right now. But I promise we will work it out.
Get to talk.
Ooh, Jess.
We don't run a super tight ship around here, so sometimes you'll hear voices off camera, and we encourage that sort of behavior.
Yes, you will.
Oh, that was quite the whistle. All right, so John Keithley's in. I mean, we can discuss it at length. I can tell you about. Well, never mind. I could tell a story about John Keithley right now, but I don't want to. I don't want to blow up anybody's spot. We've had some good times, old John Keithley and I.
He always hijacks our live feeds and gets on there and trolls us a little bit.
I have run into him more than once down at Melrose, and just there I am playing a game of pool or playing a game of darts, and there's John Keithley. And next thing you know, the hours have gone by.
Dude, he plays the cajon while playing the guitar at the same time. That seems impossible.
Does he have extra hands? That doesn't
He
seem like
plays
that's...
the cajon with his feet, and then he plays the guitar at the same time.
So he bangs on the cajon.
Yeah, kind of.
Audience topic. How many scarves are too many scarves?
Oh, well, how many scarves are too many scarves? I will be the first person to tell you that there is no such thing as too many scarves. I myself am wearing a scarf right now, even though it's like 80 degrees outside in the nighttime.
Should we
Because
show
my lovely wife, Abby, got me this scarf the other day, and it is like right in my wheelhouse.
Should we show him how you were trying to wear it before the show?
It's all right, yeah, we could do this.
I think
You
we
guys
should.
tell me what you think. We're gonna do this out right here. This was an idea I had. Nobody else liked it but me.
It got vetoed quick.
It got big time vetoed, and I try to live in a democratic society where not. So I bring it out that
Here
way,
we are doing it.
and then I do one of these. Yeah, you know, and you just, and it's like you have extra octopus arms. I really thought I was making a statement. I really thought I was doing something different.
Tentacles.
Yeah,
not
extra.
arms.
Yeah, well, tentacles, octopus arms. You know, tomato.
Tomato.
All right, have we addressed the scarves? Do we have any more audience topics? Because we could do more, or we can move on to whatever is next. Well, I guess the special guest is next. Do you want to do that? Are we ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, let's see who we've got tonight for our special guest.
Special guest.
Who's it gonna be?
All right. You know this guy from such movies as The Wild Wild West and apparently some others. Let's give it up. One of your favorites and mine, Mr. Will Smith. This is where I pretend I have an earpiece. Oh, am I doing a good job? I know, it seems very believable, right? Okay. All right, so Will Smith apparently, even though I just texted him like 30 minutes ago, said he's not going to be here. So, we're going to move on. Mr. Rock and Roll Basement himself. Y'all give it up right now, Mr. Justin Johnson.
Howdy.
Hey, buddy.
Matt, I brought you a potato. This is the immaculate potato. I've raised it since it was a little pup. I found it in my backyard just growing by itself, and I thought, what an appropriate gift for this show to show my appreciation.
I have had dreams. We have already had a guest on this week. Here, Mark, can you just be in charge of that? Thank you. We had a guest on just telling me all about his vegetables he'd been growing in his garden, and he brought me none. And here you bring me your one and only potato.
One and only potato.
That makes me feel much, much better. I'm going to be honest with you.
I thought that, what the world needs now is love, sweet love. And what better way
to show love than a potato? My people are Irish, the Mackeys. Fun fact.
So they know about the potatoes.
They know a lot about the potatoes.
Right? I mean,
that's basically
wasn't there a potato famine in
there was
some sort of weird thing?
Here's a fun fact for you. That is when my family came to America.
Was that in 1820?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Are we getting historical right now?
I don't know.
Wow, no, you're exactly right.
Any year that ended in 20 probably had plague, potato
It was in
famines.
the 1820s. That's really... Oh, you're right. Maybe we're just due for it.
Right. I don't know.
We don't want to get heavy here, but
I mean, I'm just saying, potatoes. Sometimes that's how it starts.
It's almost never you get to hear a person say something like, all I'm saying is potatoes. It seems like that would resolve more or less any conflict.
Right.
You see two people fighting at a bar, or at a party, or at a park, or really anywhere you see any conflict. I bet if you just walked up to those people and said, hey, get everybody's attention, make it real stern. Hey, all I'm saying is potatoes.
Potatoes.
At the very least, they would be bewildered enough that they would lose sight of whatever argument they've been having.
It's just like at the beginning of all this, when someone would go, toilet paper? And you'd be like, toilet paper?
I did see
what about toilet paper? Oh, by the way, there's no toilet paper. What?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Toilet paper?
I will say easily one of my favorite memes or whatever I saw when that was happening. Somebody posted and said, everyone take note, the people who hoard toilet paper are the people that will hide a zombie bite from you in the apocalypse. And all I could think was, that seems accurate. That seems like a legitimate... Because, they'll have toilet paper longer than everybody else. I don't know if that makes them more or less likely to be a zombie. I don't know what the toilet paper to zombie ratio is. I haven't watched enough Walking Dead.
I think it's just, they keep secrets.
Zombies do?
Well, people that hoard toilet paper.
Toilet paper hoarders.
Yeah, they're like, they have the secret stash, like the bunker.
I was trying to picture zombies keeping secrets like, the brains are over here.
Right.
No, that would be
The
telling a
brains
secret.
are over here. Don't tell Rhonda.
I don't think they're smart enough to do that. But if they were, though, I could see them, cohorting.
Cohorting.
All right, you flank the left, I'll get the right.
I mean,
but
if zombies could coordinate, I think we'd all be toast.
Right. Right?
I like that you and I, by the way, have covered an enormous amount of ground without getting to any of the topics that I have here for us to talk about. Well, once you go into zombies, I mean, you can go a long way. But we will digress back to where we were supposed to be, which is the Rock and Roll Basement.
Okay, Rock and Roll Basement.
You are the godfather of the Rock and Roll Basement.
That's what they tell me.
Let's tell some of these people a little bit about the Rock and Roll Basement.
So the Rock and Roll Basement was started by me and our friend Josh Waters, and we did it solely for the purpose to help people out, to try to keep them motivated and doing stuff. And as y'all mentioned earlier, we did stuff at the Blue Bar, and we did stuff at Soulshine, and we do stuff all over town. We don't do it as much now as Rock and Roll Basement because I play now and I have a band, and whereas before we did Rock and Roll
band
Basement,
is?
Well, me and this guy right over here, Mr. Mark Cardwell.
Mr. Mark Cardwell.
Cardi B. Danny Phalo, bass player, and of course the most amazing guitar player in town, Andrew Tyler Foxwell. Aside from Jonathan Stevens.
Ooh.
This is his own category.
I mean, at that point, we're in a coin flip situation, right? but only one of them gets to be called Foxy.
Right, exactly.
And it's me.
So, and it's
You just stole that.
Just
Just
grabbed
bam.
it. He just-
by the way, Foxy, you're no longer Foxy. Jonathan Stevens.
You're just Andrew.
You're just Andrew. Yeah, you're
Wow.
another Andrew.
Sorry.
To go
bud.
from Foxy to Andrew is not, I feel like, status that anyone wants.
I don't think that's fair, but you know, if that's what we're gonna, if the show says it, then it must be true.
I
Right?
have to say, one of my favorite things that we ever did as a part of the Rock and Roll Basement was the Christmas album. And so every year at Christmas, this album resurfaces. Some of the
Right.
people that wrote songs for that Christmas album, these are, I hand to God, some of the best Christmas songs I feel like I've heard.
Sure, we really did. That was really Josh's brainchild. He had the idea that we record all these people doing a song and then we could just put it out, and I thought it was a great idea. And it kept multiplying. Like, it started out as like 5 songs, and it became 10 songs, and it became 15 songs, and it was like we just kept putting out songs, and everybody wanted to be a part of it, and like yourself, and
Yeah. And I remember when it came around, so I ended up doing a full-length minor key version, really dark version of Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer that me and Josh Waters worked on
Yeah,
together.
that's true.
Because I remember when this project came around, it was, okay, you guys can write a Christmas song if you want, or just pick a Christmas song and cover. And I remember thinking, the pressure, the idea of like trying to write a Christmas song,
sure.
to me it seemed insurmountable.
And that's kind of really the idea of the Rock and Roll Basement is to say when there is a lot, because a lot of times people have an idea, they don't know how to make it happen, they don't know where to start, and even though it seems simple, and it really is simple, they lack the motivation to do it because there's a lot of pressure for it to be like really good or whatever the deal is.
I mean, the
And
one that
artists
Borne wrote.
artists put dude, I mean, like
Borne, I feel like created
but
a Christmas
the
classic.
thing is he
Man.
already had that
That
song.
Borne song.
And Jason Martin already had that song too.
Oh
that he
yeah,
did.
that's true.
So,
And both of
or at
those.
least in part, I don't know if they had it full, but it gave them an
You gave
excuse
them,
to
yeah,
finish it or
you
something.
opened up an avenue for them
And
to
then
walk
same
down.
with you or whoever, we would say you can pick a song or you can write a song, whatever you want to do. And that way it's like, oh, well, I've always wanted to do Run Run Rudolph. Well, I'm going to do Run Run Rudolph.
I couldn't believe when I saw these cats that were writing these Christmas songs. I was like, good for you. You know what I mean? You got stones, I guess. And then when I listened to them, I was like, oh yeah, these guys are really talented songwriters, and they actually knocked this out of the park.
Right.
Ooh, oh, I just forgot. I just glanced over here for a second. I sort of caught it out of the corner of my eye. Weren't you on the actual news not that long ago?
I was on the actual news, yeah.
So why?
I don't know. I don't have
Was it for
no
some sort of
clue.
criminal activity or anything?
No. So our friend, fellow lover of music, Mr. Jeremy Noble, was contacted by Julie Milam, who does some TV in Bowling Green, about someone in Nashville wanting to interview musicians that had played downtown or something like that. But she was interviewing a lot of people, and it was going to be like an online piece, and she told me the whole deal. And so we did the interview like through a Zoom thing. And then, like, the very next day, it's just, like, on the news. I had no clue.
I saw all
she
the
said it was
people
gonna be an
that I
online
know were
thing,
posting
and then,
about
like,
it.
it was like, holy crap, you're on the news, and you're talking about, you know, the state of what's going on. And so...
Which,
I was
by
glad
the
to help.
way,
my biggest concern was that sounded like, you know, a huge hick. But everyone said it was okay.
I don't ever feel like you sound like a hit.
Okay, good. Well, then
I mean, you got a little down home tinge,
you know.
but I mean, I wouldn't say it's excessive.
Right,
I certainly
yeah.
wouldn't say you sound like a hick.
Sure.
I've known people that sound like hicks.
Right.
The people that I know that sound like hicks proudly will tell you that they sound like a hick.
Right.
They'll look you right in the eye and they'll tell you, like, yeah, this is how I sound. I sound like a hick. Doesn't bother
Right.
me at all.
I just wanted to be able to speak for everyone in a way that was representative of, you know, how we all kind of feel.
Because you got one voice, you're trying to magnify for many people, right?
And everyone's
Absolutely.
kind of kept in touch with each other that would normally see each other like downtown or playing out or whatever to check in and see what they're doing and you know, like discussing how to make live streams possible and that kind of
Right.
stuff. So
Well, this is a good reminder. So after the show tonight, we're going to be taping a much longer interview we'll use for our podcast and for our YouTube channel. And we'll get into this, what we're talking about right now,
love
in
it.
much more detail,
do it.
right?
let's do it.
Yeah, it makes me
All right.
excited. All right, this has been awesome.
I did.
Hey, man.
I mean, Here's to you. And
Here's to you, brother.
Mark, and here's to Jonathan for doing this.
Man, to Jonathan Stevens, anytime.
Jonathan Stevens, seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
I mean,
bud.
Seriously, producer extraordinaire over there.
Big time.
Right.
All right, speaking of that, well, now it's time, actually, for a word from our sponsors.
Okay.
Thanking the sponsors. Not actually a sponsor.
Today's show has been brought to you by Celery. Celery. Never letting taste get in the way of eating. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to share with you a few of my thoughts.
Thoughts from my brain piece. Stuff that I think about.
Okay, let's talk about people who are mean. What are you doing? I assume you have been walking around the world living your life, observing things like all the rest of us have. You've seen mean people before, right? You've seen them from like across the parking lot or across the store or the office or like probably your own living room. Like, you know that it's terrible. Every time you see it, you know that like, oh, who wants to be that? That person seems so mean and I hate it. And yet you still do mean things. You know exactly who you are. Mean people are everywhere, and they do these mean things with no regard for other people's feelings or thoughts or emotions. I cannot imagine a more self-centered and terrible thing that a person can do than to be mean to people. It is so easy to be nice to people. Like, it takes you basically no more time and certainly no more effort. It's hard to be mean. It chews you up, it makes you feel gross inside, it makes you sad and tired. All the things you don't want to be, that's how being mean makes you feel. And yet, for whatever reason, we have to come up with ways to make excuses for people who are acting mean. I don't like it, you don't like it, and I think we can all agree that everybody should try to dial down their meanness and the world would be a much, much better place. Okay, got that one out of my system. Now, time for us to take a look at some ways to help.
Ways to help. Go do it right now.
Hooah! Okay, here's the ways to help box. Let's see what we've got here today. Cha-cha-cha-cha. I don't think I said the word, but I heard the bell, so I'm going to take a drink anyway. All right. The way to help for today, and this is important for everyone, write a poem and leave it in your mailbox for your mailman. That's a great thing. Everybody should do that. All right. So don't forget to do that. And don't forget to like our page, subscribe to our page, follow our page, poke it, hug it. All the things that people do, we need you to do all that so we can keep making a whole bunch of shows. We really appreciate all of you that have watched it. Anybody that watches this is a friend of mine. They could be a friend of yours too, if you want them to be. And last but not least, we're going to check out what's on the table.
Let's see what's on the table today. There's that. And that. Those. And this.
Where's the show? You're a show. Who is that?
Hey man, let me get a bite of that corn.
Yeah.